5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, all you crazy capitalists, you witty whiskey enthusiasts? Welcome to the Whiskey Capitalist Podcast. I can't talk right now.
Just rolled out of bed.
Are you gonna Ian?
Just calling you out on it.
Yeah, immediately. You can't wait 5 seconds before we start a podcast where you're gonna call me out on shit. I just woke up. All right, my name's Ian.
And I'm Shawn.
All right, and then we also have Pixie at next on stage 1. We'll let her get into her story, but before we do that, make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow, and comment down below, and add a comment while we're doing our live stream. We can, if you want to ask your questions, get a conversation started on that. That'd be awesome. Make sure you go to solo.to/thewhiskeycapitalist for all of our links and ways to stay up to date with us. Go to bit.ly /the Whiskey Capitalist merch to check out all of our merch we got there. And so today we are going to be talking to Pixie. How you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, guys. I'm in my bathrobe and I'm just laying around the house.
Nice. Living the dream.
Yeah,
living the dreams.
I'm probably in PJs too, since I just woke up 5 minutes before we did this live stream. But yeah, so tonight we're going to be talking about her kind of journey from going from a stripper to going to a podcaster, and kind of interesting experiences with working in that area and the exotic dancer profession. Let me see. Why am I?
Ian, you have a little bit of experience in that background as well.
Yeah,
you?
Exactly. I grinded up on a pole. No, I was a bar back and a bartender at a strip club when I lived out in Austin. So I've worked in the area, but obviously not in the position that you
weren't in the industry.
So never money stuffed down your G-string. So you're never that guy.
No, my thong. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about that and whatever else pops up during the conversation. If there's anything specific that you'd like us to talk about, like I said, leave it in the comment section, and if it's not absolutely horrendous, then we'll read it and we'll have it a part of the show. But
I think this would be probably a good one to kind of like let people ask questions, maybe for like Pixie or for us and stuff like that as well. If they have any kind of questions that we're not touching on, by all means, throw them in the comments. Maybe we'll get to it.
Yep.
Guys, we always say hotter the tip, hotter the show. So make sure you're supporting this podcast.
I think hotter the tip, that's like a chlamydia thing. All right, so with that, we're here's our intro.
Who else in the level crowd say yeah?
Look at that big, juicy booty.
Hot like a tamale.
Be offended.
Do you love black people? Do you grow?
You know the thing.
Here, next.
Don't be rude. You ain't black.
Shawn Cav.
You're going to have a flame coming out of your butthole.
Heartfelt.
A man and a woman.
Best intro ever.
Yes.
Forever.
Always gets me going and gets me laughing.
I know, it gets me pumped up every time. Like, yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be great. So, how many Twitter spaces did you do today, Pixie?
Only 3.
Only 3. I do like one a week, and I feel like I'm like, man, that was a lot. So it's crazy how many you do. You're kind of like this Twitter space guru almost. It seems like where like you go on there and you
call myself a guru, just somebody who's really like bored, like one of those house cats that have to listen to everybody else's discussion, and I just got to bend somebody's ear. Like, what are you doing? I want to know.
So Trevor, yes, this should be a good one. I mean, but it's always a good one, really. Are we going there? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Good morning to you too, sir. And I think we have our first question.
Yeah, as a stripper, do I live my life 3 minutes at a time? No, probably a song at a time. Every time I'm up on stage.
3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah, it could be interesting. My life is definitely played out by music, I swear.
Yeah. Okay, so what I would start with is kind of like your story, like kind of how you went from where you were.
Yeah, well, I mean, like it's always kind of like an interesting journey, I suppose, as to how you got into like the stripping realm of things, and then like kind of like
you were gonna give your story, Shawn, and I was like, I was not asking.
No, not my story. My story of getting into stripping is totally different, but I'm more interested in Pixies at this point. So just going from that into podcasting as well, it's got to be like quite a journey for you at this point.
So I've been dancing for 24 years now, and I don't look my age, but I've been dancing since I was 18. Now, I started back in the 90s where everybody was tall and blonde and big hair and fake tits and no ass. And just like when I say no ass, they had literally no ass. So I am 5 foot, red hair, big bouncing boobs, big smile. I didn't really have a butt back then, but I still had boobs. And so I wasn't really your typical looking stripper. Now, I started it because I had no skills as an 18-year-old. I was like, I can do that. Everything's easy money. I can get up there. I can dance. I can have all of this cash, and I don't have to go to college, and I don't have to work really hard. And I went into a club that happened to be a juice bar. And here in Colorado, this is where I'm at. You have to be 18 or older to be in a juice bar. You don't have. They're not serving alcohol, but the problem with a juice bar is it's completely nude. And I did not know That
That brings a whole new meaning to the juice.
Yeah. What kind of juice were they serving?
It was like
I don't know if
pineapple
you've seen our podcast yet, but there's going to be inappropriate jokes. That's just the way.
Yeah. What was getting juiced?
It was pineapple juice, apple juice. Like it was, you could order
Melons of all shapes and sizes.
Yeah, you could order a Coca-Cola, but you had to order 2 drinks to be there. They didn't charge people to be in there. They charged people a drink. And then as a dancer, your job was to sell juice to men. Hi, would you like to buy me a drink? No, I don't want to drink like a gallon of fucking juice just so I can make money. It was the weirdest thing. I had no skills.
I would like a cleanse juice, please. Oh my goodness.
I had no skills. There was one stage in the whole thing. It was completely black and dark, and
so it was just next on stage.
That one. There was one stage. It had like a runway to the stage, and then one pole in the middle. So, and it was surrounded by these really ugly, tall, red booths. Everything was dark and dingy, and you didn't want to see it with the lights on. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of fun there. I learned a lot of stuff. I learned that once the panties are removed, you have to always remove the panties. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And they're like, well, it's part of your job description. I was like, I'm not doing that.
You're like, I don't know if people want like butthole next to their juice. Like that's just weird.
Yeah, like what kind of a business is going to like want to sell like pineapple and like banana juice and all kinds of different stuff, and then like you're gonna have but by the way, here's my gaping butthole. Like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, do you want some like milk like with like mixed in, like make a little little smoothie, little Jamba Juice?
Going down this road is just so disturbing.
We are going down some dark road.
Yeah, wow, this is early. You had a lot of dark days in your beginnings, Pixie.
Yes, but
but you look upon them fondly.
As an entertainer, I don't regret what I've done. I don't regret who I am. I've done a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things. I have a lot of stories. I'm a strong, independent person. I've always had my own vehicle. I've always paid my own bills. I've always done everything that I want to do. Nobody tells me what to do. Nobody influences how I think. And I feel like that there's something freeing about it. I feel that I can be myself. I can listen to the music I want. I can talk how I want. And people, they either go, oh my God, this, or they go, this is going to get interesting. And that's what I love about telling stories about who I am and my journey. I'm not your typical dancer either.
Yeah, no, I think you're very well spoken, and everything that you when you do your descriptions and like you're talking in your spaces, it's always very intriguing to hear like what stories you're sharing and whatnot. Even if not a lot is being told, like I feel like you're very captivating.
Sometimes, sometimes the spaces get out of hand. Sometimes people are unruly or they ask questions like stripping jam, pour some sugar on me, cherry pie, girls. Absolutely. I've danced to everything. I've danced to the Mighty Mouse theme song. So yeah, we get weird questions and then they just derail the show. And so you've got to be able to put that back on track. And you got to be entertaining while you're doing it.
So then this brings up a good question from Trevor. What percentage of strippers lied to him about paying for college?
Probably about 80% of them. Yeah. There's a lot of girls that put themselves through college. There's a lot of
veterinary school.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. This is news to me. So you're saying
this is the man behind the curtain moment right now. Like, what's going on? Girls lie?
Saying that strippers lie to men that go to strip club.
Look, there is a perception when you walk in the door that you have money and that you want time and effort for that money. So there is a little bit of lie on both sides. Will she like me? How much money do you have?
Oh yeah, it's so obviously, you know, I've been to strip clubs plenty, just going to strip clubs, but
never.
Yeah. I mean, what am I talking about? But then, you know, working. I obviously wasn't, you know, in your position or positions at a strip club, but
Ciao.
Yeah, hey, but I did, working there, you realize, like, obviously I was a single, dude in Austin, Texas, and I'm sitting there, I party all the time, whatever, and all that. And then I'm like, oh, I got a job at a strip club. This is, it's going to be titties all the time. It's going to be amazing. And then you get there after like 3 or 4 shifts. You're like, oh, this is a fucking job. And they're just people. And I went through that. And then I also worked for a company that did, like, I don't know if they do it out in Colorado or if they do it where you're at out there, Shawn. My brain's not fully on yet, but yeah, like, do they do in bars? Did they do like the Camel cigarette coupons, like the free pat? You give them your ID.
You know what we typically have out here? We'll end up having like buffets with like the strip clubs, and to me, it's like
no, I didn't mean
whole
in
person
strip clubs, just like in bars, like they have like.
Okay. Well, I thought you were talking about like
and then they give you like a coupon to take, and you get like a pack for $1, or like anything like that. Do you ever remember that?
Not really.
Okay, I don't know if you smoke cigarettes or Pixie. Is that anything?
We had it. Well, Denver went the way of no smoking in all of the bars and everything. So about 16 years ago, yes.
Oh, okay.
We would have their promotional people come through.
Yeah,
and
like the promo people.
Yeah.
So like I worked for a company for that, and since like strip clubs in Austin were like a big, were like a big deal. This is the only job that I worked at where it told you a schedule of what bars and strip clubs to go to try and go like fucking give out coupons or whatever. So I would work at strip clubs as the guy that would just go around with hey, do you want your ID? I'll give you like a pack of cigarettes for like $1 or whatever. And then I'd there'd be like tits right here, like grinding on a dude. And I'd just be like, okay, give me your ID. And
excuse me, ma'am, I'm trying to work here.
Yeah,
excuse
exactly. We're both trying to work. Can you get your fucking vagina out of my face?
Like Hank Hill when he's doing business in the strip club. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me.
I thought you were going to say Hank Hill, like some of the strippers had an ass like Hank Hill. Yes, definitely.
That's true. But no, I was bringing up a totally different thing, Ian. I was the buffets at some of the strip clubs in like my area, which that's like a whole personality. I feel like of someone who would actually go to the strip club for food.
Yeah, I would use it for free food. Because I was broke and I needed money, so
that's one thing. But I mean, like, what about like the hot dog buffet or like eggs and bacon? Like, really? Like, we're gonna serve eggs at a strip club?
We have a premium strip club, so a higher end strip club, and they sell steak at the strip club. So you can use that as a business write-off if you purchase food, talk about business, but. Buy your customer a steak. Now it's a tax write-off. Now you're going there for business meetings. It's great.
That's a hell of an upsell right there, Pixie.
Yeah, as someone who used to eat at a buffet at a strip club because I worked there like at least once or twice a week, don't get steak at a strip club. It's not a good thing.
I've never had steak at a strip club. It's a little weird. Just the frozen pizzas are my jam.
Gotcha. Elios.
Frozen pizzas.
Amazing.
They're like Barstool Sports. They're coming out with their own fucking.
Wouldn't that be fun? You just see your face on a pizza.
What the fuck?
Well, so then like you said you were dancing for 24 years. Like now, is that like up until you're currently still dancing, or you're done with that?
This year I danced.
Okay, so like you're still currently doing it, just not as often.
Right. I'm a waitress now, so I've transitioned over. So now I don't have to dance if I don't want to. I also have a normal job. So things have changed in my life where I'm slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we have a question here from Trevor. The paper money being passed around, do you just pocket it, or does the business count it and write you a check? More referring to the sanitary issues of the cash.
Every dollar you receive in a strip club has been placed in the thong of a dancer. So the club doesn't count my money. I because I work in a smaller club, I'm responsible for making sure that, I'm upright and I report all of my taxes to the government. And
Yeah, like we all do.
Yeah, like we all do. Yeah, we're responsible adults here. Make sure that, those kind of things happen. But in most of the clubs that I've worked in, I'm responsible for my own cash. I'm responsible for tipping out, making sure my doorman gets their bit of their cash, the DJ, the bartender, all of those kind of things. And that's really what greases the wheels between people in such an establishment.
Yeah. Now, I have a few questions, like just in general for like perceptions and stuff like that. What's your like idea of like a guy who goes to a strip club like by themselves? Is that like just totally like normal, or are you more used to seeing like groups of guys go like typically like?
I've seen everything from just single guys. One of my favorite regulars, he was blind, so I like.
He was blind.
I like a man.
Let me feel your face.
No, I've got a great personality. I like a guy that can't get away from me. I like.
He's like, yeah, I'm blind. So since I lost one of my senses, I use my other sense and touch your ass. Like, is that what?
We do this by braille, or we don't do this at all, sweetheart. Yeah,
I mean, some difference would go over a lot different.
I had a regular who would come in. He knew me before he became blind. It was unfortunate, but he was one of my he was a good friend of mine eventually. But we had so much fun picking on other dancers because they didn't know he was blind. He'd wear big, thick sunglasses. He was as big as he looked kind of like the Kingpin. So he's this big man wearing big sunglasses and just being really intimidating, but he was blind and he would tell all kinds of jokes and stories, and dancers had no idea. They would try and steal money from him, and allegedly I might be a little mean towards those dancers. Allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, like that's pretty shisty, I would say. I mean, obviously not everybody's on the level if they're dancing. Like not everyone's going to be good people, I would assume. Like some of them made bad decisions in life.
Oh, there's tons of bad decisions in the strip clubs. I mean, that's probably why we mostly go. But there are a lot of good individuals. There's couples that come. There's birthday parties, bachelor parties. We see a lot of women in clubs now, and that's been one of the major shifts. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, it's not unreasonable to have a guy come in for lunch. He's got $20 to spend. He's going to buy a drink, and then he wants a lap dance, and then he's leaving.
Yeah, going back to work. That's
That half-mast. Good for him.
You see the guy coming back from lunch, you're like, why do you have fucking glitter on your face?
It's a fucking joke.
I hate glitter. Glitter is it's the herpes of the craft world and the stripper world.
I can tell you the one of the worst experiences I ever had was at a strip club in Philly, where it was actually for my bachelor party. And it was me and a bunch of my coworkers. We all went to this strip club after steaks and tons of cigars and booze and whatnot. And we were at the strip club till closing. Basically, it was in Philadelphia, it's 2:30 ish in the morning, and we all get in the cabs and we go back to the hotel. And we get back to the hotel, and a lot of us are wearing white button downs or just light colors. Some people were even wearing lighter colored pants, and everybody was just covered in this brown gook. It was all the foundation. There was so much foundation cover up that I was like, what is that? Why is there a streak on my arm? What is this? What is going on? My pants are disgusting. And we're just we had finally put it together when we sobered up in the morning. We're like, oh wow, you know what that was, right? Those are the girls.
Yeah. Do not wear white.
Stripping for you.
Don't wear whites. Don't wear anything light colored. Make sure that when you're done, check your clothes, because sometimes girls are gross. Girls are gross. Strippers are gross. Guys are gross too. Just make sure that don't pick the girl that smells like a lot of perfume, especially if you're going home.
Yeah, as an ex-stoner, that's usually a lot of perfume and cologne is covering up a smell of something else.
Yeah. Don't. And if you're a girl that's thinking about dancing, put on men's underarm deodorant. Then you're just hanging out with the guys and you smell, your underarm smells like guys.
Yeah, but it is 2022, and that could throw off a different vibe nowadays. I could be like, am I going to find an interesting surprise when the G-string comes off?
It's
what kind of club did you go to?
Wild world we live in now.
Are you tucking something back right now?
Oh, gross.
Oh, rim shot.
But yeah, now I guess like we could probably maybe transition a little bit towards like some of the podcasting you've been doing, because like you've taken all those experiences and kind of went into like storytelling, and now you're doing like Next on Stage 1, but like you're also doing Twitter Spaces, and like I think you're also involved in a few other things as well. Like I don't know if you want to kind of like dive into some of that.
I'm doing some crazy stuff. Well, so pre-pandemic, everybody was getting into podcasting, right? And I was like, that's something I could do. I could see myself asking questions, telling my side of the story. I know all of these beautiful women, and they've got to have stories. They've got to have, like, I got hit with a chair once. They've got to have like some wicked stories, which I do. You're laughing, but I did. Season 1, episode 24, I tell the story where I got hit with a chair in the strip club by a guy named Tarzan. And that's what I do on my podcast. I tell these ridiculous, allegedly true stories to people who would never even go into a strip club. These are people that have never seen the champagne room. They've never experienced all kinds of stuff. And I just want to show people that I'm not a bad guy. I have fun. A job's a job. I'm just having fun. I'm enjoying life.
I mean, everyone deals with dicks at work. Like, come on.
Yeah. Mine are just physical.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting business. Like when I was working there, you can kind of like not see my mouth too. It's kind of, I like the mystery. There we go.
But if you put yourself down there, your followers can't see my boobs on the live stream.
I know. I've been trying to figure out if I just like sit up a little bit higher. Maybe we'll do this. I'm trying to keep your boobs in frame here, Pixie. I'm doing the best I can.
So yeah, it's definitely interesting because like I was saying, you like you realize that it's like just a job and it's just other people, but like to me, maybe it was just a strip club that I worked at, but like it seemed like there were like the percentage of actual. I mean, obviously I was single and, like I'm a dude and I see tits everywhere. So I'm like, obviously I'm just, trying to hit on everyone I can, but like so I'm going to pass off a lot of it. But looking back at it, it's like, there was like 5% of like kind of on it women. Like there was a lot of just void of, I don't want to say like strippers are dumb. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there was a large percentage of like trying to start a conversation or just like, just talking like, like you would with someone at work, like in the kitchen or, in the back or whatever. And you're like, I can't even like get past like, hey, how was your day? Or like, hey, what do you do? Like, what do you do besides this? Like outside of work? And it'd just be like, dude, really? Like nothing? You got nothing? Okay, this is a perfect job for you because it's loud. You don't really have to talk and you're attractive. You know what I mean? So like this is
dance.
For me, that's a misconception because the best girls can talk. The ones that are pretty and they're okay and they something. Those girls don't make their money, but the ones that really navigate a strip club, they can hold a joke, they can hold a conversation, they can hold a joke, they can hold your gaze, they can really turn it into like a good experience. A lot of the time I'm just listening. A lot of the time if you can get past that intro bullshit, there's so much. Like, I hate sports, but I'll fucking talk your ear off of sports, whatever it takes to get into your wallet. And I think that that's a little bit of a nuance of business, of knowing who you're talking to. Who is this person that's coming in? Are they lonely?
Yeah.
Are they just trying to shag you? Because that's easy. If you're just trying to shag me, I've already got your wallet.
Yeah.
But
I thought you were going with like, oh, if we're just trying to shag you. Well, we got to read that.
Why
Like,
didn't you just ask?
So there's also that misconception. Like all of these women, they're just in here for sex. Absolutely not. I am here to wrangle your wallet, take away your 401k, and just have just like this epic time where you leave feeling like you got the upper hand.
Yeah.
Not me get the upper hand, because I already got the upper hand.
Yeah.
I got the upper hand, the wallet, the shoes, the car. I got all of that stuff. But I left with a good conversation and possibly somebody who's going to come back for the long game.
Yeah, I can tell you honestly, there is some there's a lot of truth to what you're saying, and I think my experience is like where I'm just like there. At first, you're like almost like in this Disneyland of tits. At first, you're like, oh yeah, all right, I'm gonna go over here, and then like after a while, you're just like you just want to smoke a cigar, have a bourbon, and sit down and just like almost be left alone at certain points, and then that usually the ones that know what they're doing, they'll come over and they'll sit with you and they'll just end up like talking your ear off for a while, and like they'll know a little bit about everything enough to where like they'll form conversation, and they'll be like, hey, so if you want to go in the back, it's gonna be $20 for this or that or whatever.
Easy, roll right on into it.
And it's like, you know what? I kind of like this girl. She's nice. I'm gonna help get her through veterinary school. So I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna do now. So then you go into back for like a few songs, and the next thing you know, it's like $100 later. I'm like, well, I guess I helped her out. All right. So like you don't feel like you lost out on anything, like you said, because it was
things I could spend my money on.
Yeah, exactly. There's far worse things in life for sure.
And it's always transactional. It's always two people knowing what they're doing when they get there. There is an entertainer and a person who wants to be entertained. And if that's not what you're looking for, don't go into the strip club. It is really that simple. And a lot of people get it twisted where they think, oh, I'm going to find the love of my life. I'm going to this and that. And they put too much pressure on just going in and relaxing. My club is more like your friendly neighborhood bar. It's really like
you're not at the juice bar anymore, right?
No, I'm not at the juice bar anymore. Nobody gets to see my gaping backside.
Good.
That was when I was young. Yeah, this doesn't happen. Not even on fans only, guys.
Oh yeah. You're gonna. We got a lot of those stupid little drops. So if you're in the middle of talking and one pops on, well, you know what happens to the best of us.
Say la vie, right?
It happens to all of us. It happens to all of us.
Okay, so there's one of the questions I have is, okay, what are some of the more extreme stories of people physically being removed from the strip club, or like pulling some dumb shit in a strip club?
I've got a video on my phone that I haven't released to anybody. One of the patrons that comes into the club, he had been away on military leave, and he came back, and everybody's hanging out. They get really, really drunk, and this guy's all like, "You dare me to get up on this bar and do a bar slide?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, we want to fucking see that, but we want to see you in your skivvies." He's totally down for it. And
tighty whities.
More like American flag fucking chones and cowboy boots.
Fun. He sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, he's so much fun. And
Are you sure you weren't stripping in Texas?
The bar is just this one long L shape, and you see the doors open. You see him. They removed all of the glassware, all of the drinks. They pulled the chairs back, and there's strippers up on fucking stage. They're trying to make a dollar showing themselves. And this guy does this full on fucking charge. He's got like I was gonna say some sort of lubricant on his belly, because he slid all the way through to till the halfway point, and then he started pulling himself down the rest of the bar like a choo-choo train. It's funny, and it's on my phone, and one of these days I should post it, but no video cameras in the strip club, right, guys?
Well, I mean, I think the strippers are able to, get away with that a little bit.
Well, put that on your Patreon page or something. Put it somewhere where people can pay. So.
I'm no longer doing Patreon.
Okay. What happened?
So if your listeners haven't heard this yet, allegedly, and I believe the story might be true, Patreon has decided to fire their security team, and they are no longer removing content that's under 18. And for me, being an adult worker, I don't adhere to that.
Yeah.
It's for adult people. It's for adult. You should not have a platform where you are trafficking children, where you are allegedly posting pictures, and none of that stuff gets removed. That's not my platform. That is not what I stand for. That's not what I like. I'm an adult. I do adult stuff. So everything that I adhere to is on the up and up.
Wait, so I mean, it is 2022. So you're making a controversial statement that kids shouldn't be introduced to sexualized.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's weird. I don't know.
That's a stance right there.
As somebody who was introduced to sexual stuff early on, no, I don't believe that is something for children. And what?
I think there's a difference.
It's not that controversial. It's just common fucking sense.
Yeah, I'm being a dick. I'm good at that. No, there's a difference between 15, 16, or whatever, if you're an early bloomer, whatever. But growing up and finding out about sex because you're growing up and whatever, that's a complete difference between being taught in schools or, making this make children's books about it. And it's dude, can you let them be a kid? Or just at least do that first?
I believe in education, and I believe that there's a lot of parents that need to be educated, and you should, the parents and the students and the teachers, they should be on board at all of the way through. It should not be a teacher trying to teach a child. It should be teachers plus parents plus children. And I think it has to be age appropriate, and there has to be consent, and we have to talk about real things.
Yeah.
And it cannot be because it's on the bookshelf and somebody wildly finds it. And then, no, absolutely not. And that it's a hard stance. It's a hard stance as a mother, as an adult, adult working in this industry. No. Things that are for adults should stay for adults. And that's my fucking hot take, which is...
It's not even that hot of a take. It's really common sense. You're just speaking like a normal person at this point. But in 2022, that's a hot take because you have an opinion and you stand by it.
Yeah.
That should be, you should be able to grow into learning about that, not having it be shoved on you when you're at a younger age, when you're learning other stuff. And I think it's kind of disingenuous, a lot of that stuff going on too, because many times Shawn and I have talked about this, especially with, Shawn, you teaching, kids and, music and, not how to strip, but teaching, and gotcha. and I used to, teach, kids music also, teaching kids something. Their minds are sponges. So they pick everything up very easily as opposed to someone who's an adult. So because, when you're an adult, then you just become a dumbass. But it as a kid, you learn things so easily. And I think teaching kids about all this sexualized stuff, not saying that anything's wrong or any, besides, pedo crap, that's obviously horrible. You should, die in a bus fire. But everything else, you should have to learn it as you're an adult, because I don't know. It just fucking disgusts me.
The problem with that is that we are learning from our parents who don't have those things in the toolbox. There's a lot of, my mom didn't teach me. My mom was hypersexual. She was one of those strong, independent women. She had 3 jobs. She just wasn't prepared enough to be able to prepare me for life. And so yeah, that's why I'm saying schools need to be able to have resources for adults, and those resources should be able to be on a level that is understandable for the age range. If we're talking about we're talking about children, it needs to be I don't know how to properly bring this out to my brain. It has to be the right age and the right time, and it has to be okay from all parties. It can't you can't do it under the cover of darkness. Everybody has sex, but there has to be a level of education, and there has to be allowing parents to know what the fuck is being taught to their children.
Yeah, like schools like to think, and I'm the only one here that doesn't have a kid, so I don't know from that, from
You're
that
out.
experience.
You don't get a say.
Yeah, exactly. How can you talk about that? No, but
I'm always very cautious about like what the teachers are sending home and what they're talking about, or like what's in the emails from the school district in general. Like I'm definitely that like quiet parent, like, but I'm reading everything because I'll be the first one to be outspoken and get kicked out of a PTA meeting if like something I saw I did not like came up in there, for sure. Like if it was anything like what was going on in like was it Landon County in like Tennessee or anything like that, or any other situations with like drag queen story hours, or anything where they're really kind of pushing early like a lot of sexualization of things where it's unnecessary, and a lot of additional explaining is not needed around like the kids. Like that's the type of thing where I'm going to end up getting kicked out of like, the school for like, stating my opinion, which to them it's going to be controversial, but for every other like sane parent, it's like, no, don't do this.
It just seems like the schools and the teachers and the, educators and all that stuff, educators, if you want to call them that, I don't know. But it just seems like they're trying to take over the perception of we're their parents, and we we know best for them because we're around them 8 hours a day, and we're teaching them things, and it's like, no, there are still things that parents should be teaching the kids and not the teachers. You know what I mean? Like either there are lines to be crossed, just like with everything else in life.
Well,
there's lines
I think
there's boundaries.
we might be having some technical we're having some technical difficulties with Pixie real quick. It's like I noticed it before. It's like yeah. So I mean, if you need to drop out and re-enter, by all means, you can do that. Are we getting like a full shot here?
No, we're not getting a full shot here.
What's going on here?
So my audio.
This is not the juice bar, Pixie. This is not the juice bar.
Keep it together. We're on the Whiskey Capitalist.
This is an 18 above show. My Zoom recorder dropped out, so I'm gonna have to leave and then come back.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
We'll be here.
Yeah.
So will I.
Yeah, we'll let you drop out. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, like, exactly what you were saying before, Ian. Like, I wanted to touch on that as well. Where like I feel like the schools are trying to almost eliminate the parents from the equation when it comes down to it. They want to try and turn things into where it's like, oh well, we don't want it to be like the family and then like the village. It's like the village is going to raise the kids, and then you are going to just see the children grow, and like it's not going to be as much the parents involved. Well, if you want, Trevor, but I mean, she's going to come back, so I mean, like maybe just the shirt. I don't know.
Just hands above the table at all times, Trevor.
Yeah.
Hands above
the table.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no. Okay. So while she's figuring out her stuff, I finished season 3 of Game of Thrones.
Oh, you did?
Okay. Is the end of season 3? Is that the red wedding that you guys are talking about?
Well, the ninth episode. See, like the thing with Game of Thrones is it's never like the last episode that's like, oh my god, it's the one before that they go like, oh my god, that's the crazy episode, and then the 10th episode is always like, hey, we're leading into the next season. This is the stuff to look forward to. Yeah. So like they give you like, instead of like a little bit of a teaser of the next season, they give you like a whole hour episode of like, hey, we're building into this now. So, but like, yeah, what were your thoughts?
Awesome. I mean, obviously I'm pissed off because my like I liked like all the one thing that I said to Jen was that there are so many characters that I love. There's so many characters that I hate, but then most of them are that middle line of like are annoying but kind of okay. You know what I mean? We're talking about Game of Thrones. I don't know if you.
Yeah, sorry. You were gone for so long, Pixie. We completely changed gears to like entertainment news.
Sounds like fun.
Do you watch Game of Thrones at all?
I did. I watched the whole Game of Thrones last year, and I'm
only on season 3. Like, okay. I got season 3 done last night, so no spoilers.
He gets really annoyed. Ian gets really annoyed when I start talking about like the House of the Dragon, like because I do like little recaps of what's kind of going on. And
I'll watch it when it's over. It's fine.
Yeah, so I've been watching it as it's going on. I'm like, okay, yeah, like, I'm digging it or whatever. But now he wants to catch up with Game of Thrones so we can like kind of watch it together.
Sean,
almost.
Let's just be completely honest. If your response to it was like, oh yeah, no, it's cool, okay, then I wouldn't have been influenced to go and watch all of the Game of Thrones, so you would, I would be able to involve myself in your conversation.
I said it was better than the Rings of Power. I said it was better than that. I wasn't like, oh my god, man, you have to see this. Like I was. You make me sound like a nerd,
bro. What are you talking about, man?
You are. I know there's like emotional damage right now because of it.
I'm hurting inside.
How dare you?
And hey, let's get back to Pixie now.
I was going to say, this podcast has been brought to you all the way by Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Thank you,
only.
HBO.
Yeah, R.R. Martin, please sponsor us.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. No, but I just got done watching like the Red Wedding and all that stuff going on, and it pissed me off because like I like that's what I was saying when you were jumping back onto the stream is I like all the Starks except for the redhead. What's her fucking name? Sansa.
Yeah,
she's my god, she's fucking annoying. But it's so
more annoying.
I thought she got better. Like I was like, okay, now I get it.
I don't know. Like I can understand that like it sucks the shit that she went through, and then like she's got to marry fucking Tyrion. I mean, that's just kind of funny.
We can't spoil it for you. We can't say anything at this point because
just up to the end of season 3, and then we're good. Yeah, I'm big on no spoilers. I don't go on the internet when there's an episode that just came out of something I haven't watched yet or a movie or whatever. I'm big on not doing any of that shit. So
yeah, Darth Maul dies. I mean, come on, let's not do that shit, all right?
Wait, hold on. Darth Vader is Luke's father? Holy shit.
No spoilers.
The episode of many spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. No, so I mean, but I just watching that episode, it was fucking crazy. And it sucks too, like, that what Arya was with the Hound. And there was that whole conversation about him being like, what, do you think they're not going to be there? And like, and all that. And then, like fucking 5 minutes later, all that shit goes down. And I was like, oh, that's shitty. You know what I mean?
See, like, I really loved like all of like the Hound storylines. Like to me, like he was like that like, I don't know, tough like father figure that she needed to kind of like get Arya through all that stuff and like kind of teach, like show her the ropes a little bit. The stuff that like Ned Stark wasn't gonna show her the real world,
because he was dead.
Well, I mean, yes, he was dead.
Spoiler.
Wait, it's like don't lose your head over this, Pixie, or nothing. But
get a little ahead of yourself there, Sean. No, but I mean, it's like I don't know. I like all the Starks. I think they're pretty cool, and Tyrion's not bad as far as I've gone. I mean, I think he's pretty funny, and which is weird for me to say because I have a fear of midgets.
Then you wouldn't like me.
Oh, how could you say that?
I just don't. I mean, I
think that's also a derogatory term, buddy. I think you dropped
I can't say that anymore.
Yeah, you dropped the M word.
Yeah, exactly. What word? What word? Midget? Is that what? No, it's just like it's always been that way for me. The only time that like
challenged.
Yeah, I guess I'm midget phobic or dwarf phobic.
Well, you can't say dwarf, and I don't think you can say midget.
I think you say dwarf.
No, the actor that
people.
plays him says he doesn't like the term dwarf.
He doesn't like the term.
He doesn't like the term dwarf.
So do you think he's like the spokesperson for all little people?
I don't know.
You're not a monolith, Pixie.
I don't know if he's I can't speak for him, can I?
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so he's like, I don't like that term, so therefore, don't call any of us that. I know an actual dwarf where like proportionally just like a smaller person and doesn't give a shit. Like, but again, maybe it's personality. Maybe Peter Dinklage is a little bit too sensitive about it.
Okay, can we just like on one level just think that it's hilarious that a midget is named Dinklage? Like he's just a little dinky. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's a little dinkle. Like, I mean,
how many times do you think he got called Dinkle in like I don't know, gym class or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
I can say you're Dinkle.
Like, are you gonna fucking grow yet? Like, Jesus Christ. Because kids.
It's been 13 years, buddy. Time to grow.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't know. I've just always had a weird thing with them. They're like one of my old band members when I was younger, dated and married a girl who was born a midget, but then took growth medicine. And so she like kind of got bigger. So she's still like really short, but like
human growth hormone, like HGH. Like
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't ask, go that far into like what you actually.
You just didn't care enough to ask.
It wasn't that big, but it was like interesting enough to be like, wow, what the fuck? But she still had like the hands, like, you know what I mean? Like the.
We need the drop for like the Connie hands.
Yeah,
like, we need like the Austin Powers Connie hands one.
But no, like I don't know. When I was blackout drunk one time, I tried to fight one at a party, and we had to leave the party because I was fucking so blackout drunk. I was like, I'm gonna fight that fucking midget.
You know that midgets they cost more. They cost more because they're harder to find. They're more of a specialty item stripper. So yeah, you're going to pay a premium price. Less stripper, more money.
Yeah,
there you go. And actually, like I have seen them advertised like at like local strip clubs before. It's like come and see like the Little Show or something like that, and they'd be like a traveling group of like little I guess midget strippers. We're just gonna go with it. Just own it at this point. We're just gonna use that word.
We get canceled on the M word.
Okay.
Of all things.
Speaking of M words, Movies America says that midget parade in Wolf of Wall Street must have been the stuff of nightmares to you. No, I mean, okay, there is a caveat on it. If there's anything funny being happened with them or like anything like that, like I see past the weirdness of the midget. Like I went to midget wrestling one time. Which was absolutely fucking hilarious. Seeing like three on one side, like suplex another three, and they all fit in the ring, and no one flew out of it. Like that was fucking great.
Were they dressed up as like classic wrestlers? Like there was like the Warrior, and then like the Macho Man Randy Savage.
There was one dressed up as Mario, like video game Super Mario, awesome. And I was like. I mean, I love this guy. This guy's fucking great.
His tag team partner being Luigi, of course. The ring girl.
I don't think they had the foresight to think of that one.
Oh man, that would have been great.
So midgets. I don't know if we can, but no, I think he does. He plays the character well. I think he is very good. I just thought it was fucking hilarious when he was going into battle and gets fucking whacked with a goddamn mallet. That was fucking hilarious.
Fair enough.
But yeah. Anyways, okay. So off of that topic, we can get to something else. I don't know.
I would like to get back to like where Pixie starts talking about where she like kind of like she started going into it before she lost connection with the podcasting and whatnot. You're saying like pre-pandemic you started getting into like podcasting, something that you could do, and or you saw it as something that you could do, just like being able to have conversations with people and such. So from that point, like it was like Next on Stage One your first project, or has there been like multiple ones before that as well?
So I got into this idea that I was going to ask all of these strippers, it was going to be a one-to-one conversation. Everything was going to be cool. And then, everything fucking closed down. I was like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I guess I might as well start a podcast. But I didn't know anything about podcasting. That's the cool thing about podcasting, is that you don't have to know what you're fucking talking about. I had an idea, but I didn't know how to start. So I did a whole bunch of fucking research, and then it didn't go anywhere. And I found a co-host who didn't end up being my co-host. He ended up being very volatile, very counterproductive. We didn't mesh well with our identities or our politics or anything. Yeah. So it was going to be an interesting show, but it didn't go anywhere. So 2 months later, my current co-host, Mr. J, he calls me up out of the blue. I haven't talked to this hermit in years. And he's all like, hey, Pixie, would you want to start a podcast? I was like, fuck yeah, I want to start a podcast. I was like, what do you want to talk about? He's all like, let's do nerd shit. Let's talk action figures, video games, comic books, all of like Magic the Gathering, the collections and the stuff that you do and the stuff that I do. We can do cosplay and everything. I was like, fuck yeah. We can fucking totally do that. But would you want to do a podcast about strippers? And he's all like, okay, I'm totally fucking down. We hung out one day. We did a whole bunch of research together. We had a blue fucking Yeti microphone in between us and like a long fucking kitchen. So we sounded like fucking shit. Don't listen to my first fucking episode. I'm telling you, Next on Stage One sounds terrible. The other podcast has never been released, even though we have a year of podcasting for the other one. It's never been released. Pop Culture Perspective is our second show.
Okay.
And the Next on Stage One, it just kind of blew up. It's when I say blew up, it was like there's more than 10 of us listening to the fucking podcast. So for me, it's a success, right?
Oh yeah.
And so it's so much fucking fun because I get to hang out with somebody I've known for years. We get to talk nerd shit. We get to talk stripper shit. We get to have strippers that we know coming on the podcast. I get to tell my ridiculous stories. And he gets to make fun of me because he knows me on such a level. It's like you guys, where you guys have your fucking banter between each other. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of fucking get together where when the camera's off, we can go even deeper.
Yeah.
We can talk our politics and everything else that goes on behind the scenes and still have a great fucking show where we just do straight up stripper stories and we don't do politics on the show. We have our fucking fast friendly loose rules that we do. But it's been such a good opportunity for me to meet people, to collaborate.
Yeah, now I wanted to ask it was Mr. J, like what was his role in like the industry? Like, because I've listened to a few episodes of the Next on Stage One, just kind of like get a feel for like some of the stories you guys share, and like some of the guests you've had on there in the past and everything. And what was his role in the industry necessarily? So
he was a male dancer, and his stripper
That's Ian's department.
His name was Smooth. So I make fun of him all the time.
Oh, so the guy strippers have their, ridiculous names as well. Okay.
They're all named Laser, Blazer,
they're American Gladiators?
They're all fucking American Gladiators.
That's awesome. And Ice. Nitro.
we had an Ice, we had a Nitro. We've had a lot of different strippers that we worked with. And Jay decided that he wanted to basically have his own private company. And
Okay.
I met him. He was the second company that I worked for private parties. And he was nothing like I expected. Nothing at all. Call him on the phone, very prim and proper person. In person, completely different. And I was like, holy shit, what did I just get into? But absolutely a fucking stand-up guy. I love that fucking dude. He's so fucking cool. We've known each other since 2005. And it's been a wild ride. I've helped him with his business. I've trained dancers. I've gotten out of a lot of trouble, and I've gotten myself into a lot of trouble just hanging out with him. And we've got so many stories that we just tell, and it's wild.
And now, like, how many seasons of the show have you guys been
So
doing?
we do 25 episodes for each of our seasons. So we do the first episode happens to be the intro, and the 25th episode happens to be the outro. So we kind of wrap up the whole season in 25 episodes, and the real meat and potatoes is anything in between of those. So one of my favorite episodes, we had a sex doll rental company come on.
Interesting.
I see that look. Yeah.
We're waiting.
And it's here in
Go
Denver.
on.
Here in Denver, there is a company where you can rent a sex doll for 2 hours, and you can do whatever you want to this inanimate object that happens to
I can use it for the carpool lane.
I'm sure you could. You could go see a ball game, and she won't say anything.
There'll be some sort of ball game.
I can go see a movie and she won't ask questions. What's
Exactly.
happening?
I know.
What's going on?
It's very interesting to see. I had a lot of questions as a girl who's not into inanimate objects.
As a guy, you have questions. Like, what's the deal with this thing?
So many questions. And I went from the, ew, that's gross to, that's an interesting business model. So it definitely changed my mind on the subject. And the husband and wife team that own the company, very good people.
I think that's more fucking interesting than the husband and wife team doing the sex doll. Like,
Now, are they the ones that also clean the dolls when they get them back?
Yes. There's a UV wand. They have microbial soap. There's a whole process that they go through. They have 22 dolls on hand in their collection. In their collection. So it's basically they're renting out a room that happens to have a doll in it, and for 2 hours you get to experience what it's like to have a 65-pound inanimate object at your whim.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing it's probably, cleaner than, regular,
I don't know.
How do I say this correctly? I was going to say animate objects, but that's not, you shouldn't speak about women that way.
No, you shouldn't.
But no, like, they're probably cleaner than a lot of sex workers. There we go. There's the term. With the UV wand, because you can't really UV wand up the, it's probably not.
Well, you could, but I don't think it'd be pleasant.
You know what I mean? Like, not too many prostitutes want to say like, oh yeah, like my vagina's a hotel room. Just stick that UV wand up there. That's a little rude.
I mean, there's plenty of black lights in strip clubs. There's lots of black lights in strip clubs. So I mean, like, there's a good chance.
Yeah. They're like up there for lighting at the top. It's not for up close and personal. Let's see what you got in you.
Bring that light down here. I'm curious.
It's interesting to see what people find as their kinks, and I never want to discourage somebody from what they enjoy, as long as it's legal, safe, and
nothing to do with children.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
we're not into like shaming anybody for like what they're into doing or whatever. As long as, like you said, no one gets hurt.
We're just mildly curious about what goes on, and there was a story about a woman who married a sex doll, And so there's a lot of weird stuff. We're like, all right, we got to get down to business. We got to know what's going on. We ask a lot of dumb questions, but there's a lot of good value in it that somebody may not understand. And so that story changed my mind about it. And that's what we do.
I think there's a difference though, because like we've like as a society now, the whole shaming thing is like, I think there's a difference between like shame, you're a horrible person, there's no reason why you should be a person, and being like, what the fuck, dude? Like that's fucking weird. You know what I mean? I think there's a complete difference.
You can acknowledge something is weird. It's not normal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Like there's a difference between like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how do you do that? Like, what's going on? That's a little fucking weird because I'm not used to that. Like, I think there's a complete difference. I think shame as a general like concept is a good thing for a society, because if you don't shame things, and I'm not saying it's bad or it's good or whatever, but if you don't like, because then that means that no one's getting their opinion across, or like you don't think of it in a different way, or like the devil's advocate.
You're taking shame from like Ian, you're taking shame from like the idea of like the person is doing something that's wrong, like, and therefore we need shame in order to project that and let them know like, hey, what you're doing is unacceptable.
Well, there's also if we don't just talk about it, we have to be able to talk about things. We have to hear what the opposite voices are to come to our own conclusions.
Yeah, and just because someone does something that I wouldn't do, or I don't agree with, or I whatever, that doesn't mean that I think that person's like a horrible person overall. I might think they're fucking weird, but like that doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Like. Dude, I worked at a gay bar in fucking Austin too. That just because like I had friends that were gay people didn't mean that I wasn't like, for me and my personal preferences and my choices, that I wasn't like, that's fucking weird. But like, like you're still a person, and I don't really fucking care. But like to me, and the way that I am in my head, and I've grown up, my sexual, whatever, that's weird to me. That's fucking weird. But like, I don't think you're a weird person. You know what I mean? Like,
I think
it's just not something you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like, it's like it's not like who you are. So therefore, it's like you can be different people. You can be into different stuff or whatever like that. Like so, like you were talking about before, Ian. Like you worked at a gay bar. You're not gay, so it doesn't. They don't have to like correlate necessarily.
Yeah.
Right, and a lot of the stories are just letting people tell their side of the story. Just letting people answer questions from two people who are in the industry. And because like I said, I'm not a bad guy. I haven't allegedly done anything that was illegal.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of stories, and I know a lot of interesting people, but there are people out there that Shawn hold things against me and make me that they put me in a box that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And when you come out to it and you start asking questions and you start putting light on things, you can really see like the cut of the jib of the person. You can see what they're doing, what they're going through. And I think we need that as a society. We need to be able to have conversations.
Well, yeah, and also there's
and some shame.
Well, yeah, basically what I'm saying is like we as a society, we don't really have like shame to a point, because it's not, you can't shame, you can't this, you can't that, but then at the same time, then everyone thinks that they're perfect, and it's like no one's fucking perfect, and everyone has has gone through some negative situation that if someone wasn't like, hey dude, what the fuck are you doing, like, then you would still be in that situation. Your life would have gone down a different path. And so like when I was out in Austin, dude, I was doing fucking blow all the fucking time. Like I was off strippers' tits behind the stage when I was grabbing the empty drinks. You know what I mean? Like there was plenty of shit that went on when I was out there. But then if someone wasn't like, what the fuck are you doing, and shamed me into like, dude, you're doing way too much coke, like, then I don't know if I'd even be here right now. You know what I mean? So I think there's a difference between like someone either asking questions or telling you that this isn't the right path to go down, or this isn't what I agree with. And then that doesn't mean you have to listen to the person. That doesn't mean you have to take everything they say literally, but it's another way to think about it.
Yeah, it's acknowledging somebody else's perspective and just kind of like, oh, well, wow, I never thought about it that way. And then like now maybe that changes your course and direction and whatnot in life.
Yeah. I mean, we're all just trying to figure it out. We're all just trying to have fun, be part of this wild place that we live in. And a lot of this, there has to be stories. There has to be a one-to-one connection. Yeah. And we have to do things like podcasting. We have to have our experience talked about and let people know, you could experience 23 years of dancing and not have a whole bunch of stories. You could be 1 year into it and just have a terrible time. And that's what we're doing on the podcast is we're highlighting people and their stories and what they've been through. And regardless of it being right or wrong, or you disagree with it, it's part of the story. It's part of their story. And that's what we do. We sit down and we talk with each other. We have a real connection.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a thing too with a lot of people that there's not accountability for choices and for decisions that you make in your life. Like I know that like having sleeves of tattoos or having long hair, you know what I mean? Like there's different things that you do in your life. You make certain decisions and then you realize, oh, well, this is going to affect this thing or this, you know what I mean? And there's so many people that are like, well, like I just do whatever I fucking want and someone shouldn't treat me differently. It's like, no, like depending on the decisions you make in your life, you're going to get treated differently. Like it, you know what I mean? It just depends on who you're talking to. And I think that there's no shame. There's no accountability. There's so many things in our society now where it's like maybe that's why a lot of people aren't, you know what I mean? Like that just don't want to fucking talk to you anymore. You know what I mean? They're like,
unless you're Trevor, and we all know he's perfect, right?
yeah, exactly. There we go. I was waiting for a chance to bring that up. When it comes to the chat, yes, you are perfect, Trevor.
Yeah. There is nothing for us to shame Trevor on at all.
Never. We don't know what skeletons he has in his closet.
And I will bring up none.
Yeah,
I know who Trevor is. I'm not gonna bring up any of his stories necessarily. Besides the fact that he did lose a thumb to was it a log splitter? So like now it's all been thumb jokes between me and him for a long time. So
I mean that might mean his balance isn't perfect.
No, like not this guy with the thumbs.
Yeah, he's like he can only ever give things 1.5 thumbs up, like and like or like he has no rule of thumb anymore. Like anything like that. It's always we've got tons of them.
Who's got 1.5 thumbs and loves this podcast? This guy. That's great. Sorry, Trevor.
You're welcome, buddy.
I'm waiting for your comment to make sure that you're still there and you didn't leave us.
Yeah, I broke his spirit.
We shamed him.
That's how he lost it. Actually, I lied about the log splitter. It was winner take all thumb wrestling competition.
Exactly. Nice. But yeah, no, I think like it's the same kind of thing. I mean, obviously, me and my wife didn't come from stripping to go into podcasting, so it's a little bit different of a journey into it. But I think it was the same thing with us because we would have fun conversations between the two of us, and obviously we're talkers and we like to discuss things and whatever. And then we just it was definitely me who was like, we should do a podcast, babe, because she at first she was like, I don't like the sound of my own voice on a microphone or like on like when you hear a recording of yourself, and so it took a little getting her into it, and then we did like one little test, and she was like, okay, it's not bad. And then we did 55 episodes, something like that, of just audio. And then I finally got like camera and the lights and like everything set up, and she's like, okay, I didn't know it was gonna be like that yet. And then but after you kind of get into it, you realize it's like after that first time, you know what I mean? Then you after that first time, it gets a little easier. But
that's what she said.
Hey-o.
Rim shot.
It's fun to be able to have that avenue, and where there's so many different places online, and with the internet culture. I mean, some internet culture is absolutely fucking ridiculous, but but to be able to have the opportunity to kind of do what you want, talk about shit, and as long as you're not saying the wrong things on YouTube or whatever, but
allegedly. I do a lot of allegedly.
Allegedly is good.
Yeah, there you'll find that in podcasting that if you don't like what you're listening to, you can always change the channel. You can always walk away from the conversation. You can always listen to something else.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that the fact that there are 3 million podcasts out there and I don't have to listen to the same one twice if I don't want to. And that's the good thing about being an adult. When you do adult things and you enjoy adult stuff, that we can have conversations, we can get to know one another, we can be serious or make starfish jokes. Who knows?
Yeah, of the chocolate variety.
Right.
No, like it's I don't know. I think Chappelle said it best. Like, you can be mad at what you're listening to right now or what I'm saying, but you clicked on my face, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, that's like when he said that, I was like, dude, there should be nothing else said about like canceling people. I mean, obviously, like R. Kelly, Kevin Spacey.
Censorship, about like censorship necessarily. It's like this, you knew what you were tuning into. Now either buckle in or leave.
Yeah.
I think that society should be able to choose whether they want to listen to it or not.
Exactly.
Not
if anyone should be able to listen to it, but if they want to. You know what I mean?
It should be there. Yeah. I want to hear opposing views of what I think.
Yeah.
I still think that they are valid and they have their own space as long as minors are not involved.
Yeah.
I want to hear your opinion. Okay.
Well, I mean,
and then that's depending on the subject. But when it comes to what I'm doing, yeah.
I mean, I think like my whole thing with it is like I'm more libertarian, I'm more conservative, I'm more on the right side, but I still listen to people like Jimmy Dore or more people on the left side or any of that stuff, because then it gives me not only an idea of like with the shaming stuff or with this, it gives you a different way of thinking about your own thought process. And it either makes you think about it in a different way or it cements the way that you think about it already. And then if they were, and it gives you the talking points that they're already going to say. So if someone brings it up to you, you're like, yeah, but what about that? You know what I mean? Like that. Okay. But then also it has, there's this thing where if you censor what someone else is saying, or if you as someone and you block what someone someone coming up in your feed or this or that, then you don't know what they're saying. So there's not even a way to react to it. So if you censor someone and remove them from the internet and some like Alex Jones or McGinnis,
I don't like that.
Then you're going to embolden them more against your point, and their followers and their listeners or whatever, they're going to be more hardcore for them in that small corner of the internet that you found them, and now you can't monitor it.
Well, one of the hardest things right now is to just for anybody that's like opposing viewpoints to actually have like actual debates. Like the debates don't happen, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that the right is willing to have conversations, and a lot of times the left doesn't want to show up without getting a check necessarily. I've tuned into lots of conservative podcasting where they've tried to get like left-wing commentators or like spokespeople, congressmen and women, and they won't turn out because they ask for too much money or this or that, and like it's a money thing for them necessarily more than just kind of like, hey, like let's try and get the points out there, let's have this argument, let's have this like conversation, and that's a troubling thing for me. So like when I do tune into like MSNBC or something like that to try and like hear an opposing viewpoint, like, man, I just start yelling at the TV a lot of times because, like, again, I'm on the right for the most part, and when I hear some of the arguments, like, I want to hear somebody saying something that I don't agree with all the time, just because then it either will concrete my point of view, like you said, Ian, or would open me up to like, oh, maybe I'm not seeing the full picture because I didn't know about this, you know, or whatever the topic might be. But a lot of times, like it's not like something like that. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, Ian. We just need to have more exposure on all the sides and not just silence one side of the argument, because that's typically what's been happening as of lately. Like
it surprises me. I mean, it surprises me and then doesn't surprise me at all that that a segment like with fucking Crowder, right? He does the Change My Mind segments, right? It's literally a segment of his show where he sits down with people at a college to discuss differing viewpoints. And that, for some reason, is fucking fascist or misogynistic or whatever fucking label you want to put that. He's like, dude, I'm literally having a conversation with someone and telling them to change my mind. Like, I'm inviting you to give me differing viewpoints, and then we discuss it.
What's going on with that Change My Mind is that a lot of people haven't heard Steven Crowder. They have no idea where he stands. They don't know where he is. He also brings a fact sheet with him, like a compiled notes that says, let's say they're talking the definition.
Yeah.
He tries to come up with, okay, where's the middle point?
Baseline.
A baseline with everything. And sometimes he changes people's minds.
Yeah.
Very, very seldom does somebody else change his mind. It has happened before where he's softened his opinion, but that right there is, it's not a gotcha moment. He doesn't edit anything. He'll speed through it when nobody's, when everybody's just standing around. But I think a lot of people, what'll happen is there'll be flyers and people will automatically go and say, hey, look, this racist is coming to town and we need to do whatever it takes to disrupt like the discussion. And I think that's doing a disservice to people, especially in college. You're going there to have your mind change, your thoughts and your beliefs, and everything should be stripped away from you in college. And you should be able to learn and develop your own personal self and be challenged. And what's happening is that's not what's happening. It's not happening at all. And there's pretty much no longer free speech on college campuses. And I think that if we can get people to listen to podcasts, get people to open up and have more of a discussion between each other, you're going to find that you're going to see more common ground, just like when he does the Change My Mind. Yeah. You're going to find things that you get along with somebody else. You're not going to get along with everybody. And who wants to be the same as everybody?
Yeah, it just seems like it's like the cool thing to do to conform to. I think Johnny Rotten of the Sex Pistols said, I never thought that I would say that conservatives are the counterculture and are the punk rockers nowadays in today's culture. I never thought I would ever say that because it never was that way. But that is the counterculture now. And it's like, that's why people like Rogan, who I don't agree with 80% of his ideals or opinions or anything like that. But that's why someone like Joe Rogan is perfect, because he has fucking 5-hour conversations with people where it's not, 15 minutes of talking points where this is what I need to get across. And there's no, he doesn't open the butt cheeks of the conversation. I'm sorry, the open the butt cheeks has been in my head for like
spreading
30 minutes. It's been an expression in my head. I'm like, how am I going to work that in? But like that, so if I look like I wasn't like paying attention for a second, I'm like, how can I open the butt cheeks with the open the butt cheeks? But no, like that's why people like Joe Rogan or people that are able to have there we go. I was waiting for that. But no, it's like and Trevor. I'm glad to get you over that mountain, buddy. But no, it got
you there.
It's very, very sad that that people can't hear an opposing viewpoint. Like people that would call Steven Crowder or people of his ilk racist without actually hearing what they're saying, just because someone else repeated and they're just repeating, conforming to everything. It's like I forgot who said it, but someone was like, dude, there's a difference between being racist and saying something racial. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a difference between like saying I don't like black people, and please, I hope no one fucking ever clips that out. But like or there is a thing in the black community, and this is a fact. That this is what happens. Like, there's a difference between being racist and saying something that has to do with race. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the controlling of speech is what happens. And it's
like, oh, this is what you meant. No, it's not.
Right. And that's where we're headed. It's going to be the cancel culture. It's going to be, instead of doing your own research, you're just going to parrot whatever you see. And guys, I don't even watch TV anymore. I might watch a show that's been done like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You know, but it's talking to people in bars, shaking hands with people, being out there in public, having discourse on Twitter Spaces, being on podcasts. I've formed my own opinions, and now I'm just chatting with people who might have something in common with me. Yeah, and no, I don't subscribe to everybody. That just because I follow somebody doesn't mean that I endorse them. And I think being open like that on Twitter, on a social platform that already has a bad negative light to it, I think that it can get you in trouble. It can get you sound clipped, which I hope people do that. Go ahead, Trevor, do that for us.
Yeah. It was at 1 hour and 23 minutes and some odd seconds.
Yes.
I like how I'm the one who does all the production for the fucking videos, and everyone else is like, clip that. I'm like,
clip yourself saying something hateful.
Yeah. I'll get right on that there, dude.
Yes, and that's how the show goes down. It just and cut scene. But that's
all right. Later, guys. Got to do the outro, sir.
But that's such the good thing about being a podcaster is that you yourself make the world around you in a way that helps you tell stories, and I fucking love it. I love to be able to talk my shit and enjoy people and meet and collaborate with so many different people. You guys reached out to me on Twitter. I mean,
yeah,
this would have never happened if I didn't join Twitter like 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, that's how Shawn and I met is, he hit me up because of me and my wife doing a podcast, like just fucking talking and fucking screaming into the void. You know what I mean? Like, he hit me up like, hey, I saw a couple clips. This is cool. I can have you on my show, which he was screaming into the void separately as well. And like,
sure.
Like we've never met in person. We don't know each other past 4 months, maybe.
From this point on, like, this is about where our relationship ends.
Yeah.
Mine too, guys.
That's all we get, buddy.
Yeah. So it's like I said earlier, with the internet culture and like all that, there's plenty of negatives, just like with everything in life. And I think that's human nature. Everyone looks at the negative before the positive, or focuses on the negative more than the positive. But I think that there are many positives to internet culture, to broadening your community and you're able to have discussions. But then when you're not able to have that discussion because someone says you can't talk to that person, or this person is fucking you, why would you platform them or whatever? You know what I mean? Right. It's like,
yeah, then you're starting to nitpick and you're choosing who's allowed to speak and whatnot, and then you're infringing on people's freedom of speech and whatnot. And like, we saw lots of that obviously from the Twitter platform specifically, but like from just social media in general, like there was a lot of that going on, especially whenever it's election season. It always seems to be like that. There's all of a sudden lots of censorship and like, hey, you're not allowed to say that. Don't say that about this person. But like, you could test the waters with this by just spreading misinformation of all like the left
you mean
propaganda. Like if you said everything like I don't know, like all the positive things you could possibly like are obviously fake, but like you could make all these like accusations that are like positive for like the left, and it'll never once like get like fact checked. Right. But like it's the other side. If you make an opposing argument, that's where everything gets fact checked. So it's just like an interesting little observation that you'll end up having. But
yeah, I never want to silence my enemies. I never want. I want to be able to check on them in case I have to do some research.
That's a great point right there. I was gonna. How many haters have you gotten from like doing like your podcast or like Twitter in general? Like, do you have like a lot of people who come at you differently than just be like, Pixie, you're awesome?
I've had a couple. I'm bigger in my own mind, guys. I think I'm grand. I think everything. I'm like Trevor. I'm just this shining.
Exactly.
Yeah, shining
Perfect.
starfish, you know. I think I know I'm a shit poster. I know that I post terrible memes, terrible stripper memes. I speak my mind. I have a lot of fun. I never go out to offend anybody, and some people take my sometimes the meme I posted about the guy in front of the pickup truck, and that was all like, ladies need some eye candy too. That was fucking funny.
Yeah.
I posted it because once in a while I like to shake the tree to see which nuts unfollow me. I do.
How dare you sexualize men like that?
I know. I'm a sexist. It's fine.
You're not allowed to talk about nuts. I can talk about, opening butt cheeks, but you are not allowed to talk about nuts, okay?
It's all nuts.
Don't you
and
dare
butts
bring
to
up
you.
male nipples.
Yeah.
They serve no function.
I think that there's a difference between saying something offensive and saying an offensive joke. Because it's obviously...
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
No.
I think it's a joke. You know what I mean? Like I love stand-up comedy, and I think that even though I don't agree with Chappelle or a lot of fucking comedians that are out there, and that are mostly liberal and whatever, I still can take a fucking joke and I can realize that it's just a fucking joke. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and if we lose our humor, what are we? Like, who are we if we
America in 2022?
Probably.
It's ridiculous. Like the amount of times that someone says something about a white guy, or I'm half Mexican, or a Mexican guy, or a guy in general, and I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of true. But it's kind of funny, you know what I mean? But I'm like, sure. I don't agree with you. I think you're ridiculous, but at the same time, it's kind of funny,
Sure. Now, I wanted to touch back on like the Twitter Space stuff, Pixie, because like you've been doing this for, I don't know how many years. Like it was since like Spaces basically came out.
Is that not even 2 years? Yeah, Spaces came out last year. November of last year is when I started. No, October of last year is when I started Project Podcast, which is where I teach people how to podcast. But Twitter Spaces haven't been around that long. It's only been around 2 years. And it's fairly new. Social audio is the next big thing. That's what we're going to see. We're going to see a rise in all of us shitheads thinking we know exactly what we're talking about. And then biggest person with the biggest platform wins. Whatever. I'm famous now, so don't judge me. And it's cool because now we're all global. We're no longer one-to-one. We are everywhere. And having such a platform where you can talk to anybody can show up into these rooms as long as you have a cell phone and internet connection.
Yeah, we've found that, definitely.
You can be a part of a conversation. And from that moment on, you can change somebody's mind just by or you can get blocked, or somebody can report all your stuff, or create a whole podcast about you, whatever. I don't know these things, but it's a lot of fun because it's your platform. It's what you want to talk about. And I love being in Twitter Spaces. I love learning. I've gotten better as a speaker. I kind of want to do some public speaking. I don't know if anybody's going to want Tits McGee right here to stand up on stage in front of everybody and
eye candy while speaking is always a plus.
Yeah, there's half the population that's probably okay with it.
Yeah,
right. And
more than half women love tits too.
Women
but then there's gay guys who like
babies, older guys. They're just so much fun. As long as they're not male nipples, and then we just don't talk about that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Dirty dark meat.
And I think that the Twitter Spaces is one of those things is people want to connect. we're lonely individuals just reaching out into the void and seeing what comes back. And so I've been using Twitter Spaces in a way that I can help other people do what I'm doing. Anybody could be a podcaster, but it takes a little bit of spark to be an interesting podcaster. You can't just be a guy with 1.5 thumbs, huh, Trevor?
Here we go. Yeah. Let me see.
Sorry.
I lose my humor. I'm just a guy with a missing thumb. Boring.
Well, then you could be a boring guy with a podcast.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and
that's fucking half of Twitch right there. Jesus. There's so many like bored that just fucking sit there and play video games and like don't talk. Like, okay, I could just go play the fucking video game myself and not listen to listen to someone stop talking.
I'll never really understand Twitch. I tried like doing a few Twitches before, but like I just don't understand the platform.
I was gonna say
I twitched funny, and I was like, I was twitching funny, and I just didn't understand it. I don't know, but I did try to like use the platform. It seems so confusing and backwards. I might just be old and technologically challenged at this point, but like it's just not for me.
We're gonna skirt along that you're old. It's fine. We don't do the ageism in this show. It's okay.
Appreciate it.
I was gonna say your ageism and your ableism is like
high.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little too much right now. I mean, I was just saying, like when I heard the term Twitch, I was like, is that like Michael J. Fox? Is that like his platform? Like, is that? I just figured
kind of retarded.
Yeah, a little bit. I was just figured I would take your, horrible speech and just make it worse. It's just,
Anybody has a platform now.
I'm a dumbass.
Well, I'm always impressed every time I go into one of your rooms, Pixie, just because like you end up always having like 12 or some odd like speakers, and then like, you always have like at least like 20 some odd like listeners on top of that as well. Like, and that doesn't happen like overnight. It
didn't happen overnight.
You're building a community, like you're building like a huge network of like podcasters and just like speakers and like content creators in general.
Right. And a lot of people on Twitter, it's how you use the platform. It's how you get to know people. And Twitter is this just massive networking space that doesn't cost you anything except for your fucking time. And I felt like there was a lot of NFT spaces. There was a lot of politics spaces. And I just wanted a place for myself to be able to talk. And just like the podcast, it's a place where I can be comfortable, where I'm not getting kicked out of the room. That's probably why I host spaces, is that you can't kick me out of my own space or mute me because I'm the host. And
exactly.
It's a way that I can say what I want. It's a way that if somebody offends me, I can remove them. I can allow them to be a speaker. It's a lot of so much power.
Yeah, I would say like typically I feel like a lot of the people you already kind of know who come up like as speakers, like like in your spaces, like you typically already are familiar with who they are, or for the most part, like
I've built a lot of know, like, and trust. I've learned people's stories. I've had them come up, speak to me, hang out. I've showed people how to do Twitter Spaces, and I think I'm better off in a teaching role. Not like teaching role, but in a way that lets people learn from me, where I'm not going to judge you. I've taught a lot of people that have opposing views of me how to run Twitter Spaces, and now they run successful Twitter Spaces. And I think that's amazing, because everybody should be able to use the platform. I don't think anybody should really be banned on the platform at all. And I think
it's like you said, with kids or things that are actually breaking the law.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, weird.
It's different.
Laws that we should abide by, but no one does.
Kids can be on the platform. I think you have to be 14 to be on the platform.
Which I think is a little...
But yeah, it's a little weird. And don't come at me if you're a child. If you're under 18, if I know that you're under 18, my content's not for you. My
I mean,
podcast isn't for you.
Can we just all agree that being an adult, no one cares what anyone under 17 fucking says anyways? You know, I mean, to be completely honest, because after you turn 18, then there's this level of respect that you're like, okay, you're an adult now. Now you're in the real world. And before that, you're like, you're still under
I don't know, man.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Yeah, I think
this is coming from the guy who doesn't have any kids.
I know. He doesn't know what it's like to have a 14-year-old.
Okay, your own kids, different story. But how many times you hear a kid story and you're like, dude, can you like fucking get on with it? Like, what do you?
All right, you're talking about boring kid stories of like,
I've heard
just
some
like they're
boring
going
adult
like this.
stories too. So
oh yeah, exactly. But generally, when an adult speaks, you're more like, okay, I'm gonna at least listen to the first 10 seconds. But then when a kid speaks and they're trying to speak about, you know, stuff that would be on Twitter, you're like,
I don't know. Like, well, if they're talking about stuff that's on Twitter, it's like, dude, don't you have anything else going on in your life? You're just going to talk to me about your Twitter feed?
Yeah, exactly. Why is this coming out at 12:30 in the afternoon? You should be in class right now. What are you doing? Why?
But like, I don't know. I think just like having kids of my own and whatnot, like I'm more inclined to end up talking to like other kids, you know, that might be even like obviously the same age that are around, like hanging around my own kids. And like, so like, I'll just sit there and I'll listen to what they're talking about and I'll interact with them on their level and whatever it is. Like, cause like my daughter's only 5. So therefore it's like, you know, like I'm bringing myself down and yeah, I'm going to have those conversations with them because that's what's interesting to them. They're talking to me about what's going on with them. Like, dude, today we were doing the letter G and like, I don't know, I did like 3 sheets of the G and it was just so much work. I'm like, wow, yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. But I've been there.
You need to have the communication with the younger generation. We cannot just like the opposing side. You have to listen. You have to be cognitive of what they're doing. Because if not, then they don't fucking talk to you.
True.
You got to hear them.
This is also coming from me who doesn't have kids, and I'm a dude with long hair, a beard, and tattoos. So if I
scary to children,
if I speak to a child, then that's not. Then I shouldn't be speaking to kids. Like you know what I mean? Like it's probably not.
You're on a list somewhere, buddy.
Yeah, now that's gonna write that down.
You see what I mean? Like I shouldn't be speaking to kids. Like the only thing that would make it worse would be as if I had a fucking white windowless van. Like that. Like those are the only.
Free candy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
See, I don't have kids, so me speaking to children, unless it's like family members or whatever, is kind of like, what the fuck is this guy doing? You know what I mean? So like that's like I just kind of would rather stay away from.
So he's wrapped in red flags, and the show is canceled tomorrow. Bye guys.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It just like I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that you don't, but just making an observation. It's like when you're like on Twitter or on like, Facebook's a little different, but like on Twitter, there's so many adult things. There's so many adult themes and adult conversations and this and that me personally, I don't think kids.
I'm not comfortable with my, now I have an adult kid. Okay. He's 23. Okay. So yeah, he's on Twitter. He's not successful on Twitter, but that's okay because he doesn't choose to be. I have an 18-year-old daughter, and she's not successful on Twitter, but yes, she is. But I have a 12-year-old. I absolutely don't want him on Twitter or TikTok. I don't want him on those platforms, but Facebook is okay. And that's my involvement with him. And what he's doing. So I'm listening to him and I'm listening to the conversations he's having, even if he's not having those conversations with me. And I think we have to have that as a society. We need to not like, we're not gonna listen to the 5-year-old who's just been talking about their G's.
Yeah.
Because we need to know that, because when they do come of age, they get to vote. Now we really want to be able to listen to them. And they might know something our geriatric asses don't know. There's something.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, on the voting thing, I think if you have to be fucking 21 to drink and you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes, you should have to be 21 to fucking vote. Like just me personally.
If that's the case, then 21 to go to war.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that too, but I don't know. That is definitely
for me. I think the alcohol is probably the worst out of all of that. But I feel like if you can vote, you're an adult. You should get educated. You should know who's in your local state and county. I think you should be able to talk to people and find out, how does this affect me? So if we raise taxes, how does this affect me as an 18-year-old?
But these are the things that just aren't spoken about in schools.
Well, we need to fucking start talking about shit.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, if there was like a focus meeting like that where like you could try and like correct a social studies course and whatnot, it'd be like, instead of trying to spend so much time on, you know, like, yeah, it's important to learn about like old like battles and this and that, but like maybe we should focus more on like just local government and understanding like where our money goes to.
Civics class. There should be. There should be a class that teaches you how to change a tire. There should be one how to finance, how to do your taxes. I mean, there should be a lot of things that we need to learn.
Yeah.
But that are just not taught, because right now the school system is ass backwards, where we're teaching kids how to answer tests instead of how to know real world skills.
Yeah, like how do you get a mortgage?
Right. You know, how do you do these things that are necessary?
How do you deal with road rage? That, like, I mean, you know, there are certain.
Well, you're not allowed to drive anyway, so you can't talk to kids. No white van for you. You're out.
No, I mean, there are things that when you grow up and you're an adult and you're like, why the fuck did I learn any of this shit? You know what I mean? Like, this is kind of a big deal and everyone fucking deals with it. You know what I mean? Like, what happens with credit? Like, when you buy a phone and then you have to pay it up. Like, I didn't fucking know that. I thought you just get phones when you're an adult. My mom and my dad just gave me one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's just magic. The magic box.
Yeah, exactly.
You must be much younger than me, because I didn't get a phone. I got a pager. So.
Oh yeah. See, sure. I mean, my situation was a little different. My mom and my dad never.
Okay, just say it. You're well off. All right.
It was an accident. Okay.
Some of us poors here.
And my dad lobbied the court. My mom took my dad to court 13 times in the first 12 years I was born. I was in and out of courts. It was a little extra. I love my mom, love my dad, you know, whatever. But it was.
They were trying to get custody or trying to get rid of you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they both were like half and half on that. But no, like through the courts, the last time that they went to court, the judge said, "Okay, it seems like you are trying to micromanage people's lives." The judge was saying this to my mom. So it seems like you want to micromanage the father's life. Talking, because all my dad wanted to go to court with her for was 10 minutes a month on the phone with me. So, like, not just visitation, because it was every other weekend, every other Thursday, you know, whatever the visitation was. But he was like, I just want to talk to him on the phone, you know, and ask him about, you know, what's going on. And so, or like an hour every month. And so he was like, dude, you're trying to micromanage, like, you know, everyone's life. So, like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put at an expense, or at the father's expense, I'm going to put a phone in his room so he can speak to his dad whenever he wants to. And so, and that was the first time my dad was like, what? Like, I'm winning something? I'm a dad in the courts and winning things? Like, this doesn't happen. And so it was maybe 6 months that I had like a landline. And then he was like, here, I'm just going to get you a cell phone. And, you know, you can take it. But it was like one of the fucking Nokias, the big ass.
Yeah.
The bricks. Yeah, the bricks were fun.
Yeah, it's still good.
I had a Motorola. It was the long one with the antenna on top. I had one of those. Yeah. But like, it was the greens. It was only a green screen type thing. Like, and I think I got.
How do you know my story so well?
Well, I'm just speaking for myself. Like, for my first cell phone, mine was like
mine was a pager, and you could write boobs on it. And then my mom would like text me like the number
that was
one.
Somebody beeping you.
Yeah, and you'd have like exactly enough to fucking call your mom back. And if you didn't have money, you'd have to be like 1-800. You'd be like, "Mom, it's a baby boy." Yeah, collect calls, and then you had to make sure that you were home by dark. It was such a different time that we lived.
Sure, I remember being out. It was like come home when the street lights come on type deal. Just running around town like I'm.
I mean, that's probably why I ended up how I am. So just running streets.
You turned out awesome.
Fucking latchkey kids, man. Like we learned about we learn certain things about real world and certain things about life through just being able to go out and play with our friends down the street and go out and do things. And then you come back and it just,
we got our education on the streets.
Yeah.
I wish that didn't happen for me. I'm 42. I'm older now. I wish that my mom didn't run the streets. I wish that she was an actual mom, that she cared, that she cooked dinner, that she did mom things. I think I would have turned out. I probably wouldn't have turned out as fucked up as I am, but I don't regret what I've done. I just wish that she would have been better. And
so you're the stripper with the mommy issues.
I'm a stripper with all kinds of issues, with a lot of issues, but you can hear more on Next on Stage one day.
There you go.
And I think that right there is the reason why I am who I am. I'm involved in my kids. I'm nosy. I'm opinionated. I'm strong-willed. I'm trying to be there for a generation that needs me like I needed somebody in my life, and we need to do that for others.
Well, yeah, that's you learn from your parents and you learn from those around you. Like how you and it's not even just like learn it in a good way, it's learn it in a bad way. You learn the negative things about what they did in their life and how they are, and then you live your life accordingly. And then what the craziest thing too is about getting older and like being an adult for a while, then you look back and you're like, oh, okay, I realize why they did that. I realize why they did it the way that they did it, because now I've been through enough life to where I'm like, okay. And then it's that, annoying point. You come into your life, you're like, oh, I understand my dad, or I understand my mom. And you're like, what the, God damn it. Like, no, they're wrong. There's nothing, you know what I mean?
Oh, I completely agree. I think a lot of us it comes back down to the conversation. We need to have conversations with people that we may not agree with. We need to get involved. We need to just fucking talk to one another. Fuck it. Life is so hard right now that why make it harder on the next generation? Why make it harder on ourselves? Yeah. And yes, Trevor, I am very comfortable on stage. I'm very comfortable talking in front of people.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing you got to get over too when you're talking with people. I think we lost Shawn. Maybe I think his service
he's done for.
Yeah. His service every once in a while gets a little shaky. So, but yeah, no, I think, and another point to that too is like there's a difference between like wishing you would have done something different and realizing that like making the decisions that you did turns you into the person that you are now. So like, I always like to say like, I don't have any regrets, but yeah, I mean, obviously there are things you regret doing this way and you wish you would have done it a little different and blah, blah, blah. But like, if I didn't do things the way that I did them, then I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I wouldn't be doing a podcast or a live stream. I wouldn't be married to the person that I am, which she fucking made my life a million times better. You know what I mean? So like, there's like, if you don't make those decisions and don't go through over those speed bumps and don't go through those shitty times where you're fucking homeless or you're this, or you're working at a strip club that has a juice bar too. You know what I mean? If you don't go through those things, then you don't become the person that you are. And then you can't teach or you can't speak about it, that people don't know,
What's the saying? Soft men create hard times create hard men create soft times. And all of it gets better with education. All of it gets better with communication. And realistically, we're all just trying to fucking figure it out. We're working this by Braille.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're pretty good on that. I just wanted to end the stream a little bit with a couple would you rathers. I figured
let's do this.
Fun.
That'd be good. Yeah, sorry about that. My internet connection was starting to go a little haywire over here.
You need to get his van closer to your house.
I know. I'm not getting a good enough signal from Ian's van here.
Yeah, exactly. I think California to Pennsylvania is a little far on the reach. Okay,
work on it.
Would you? Let me see.
Is this for everybody or is this just for
always with the Always with the funny quips. I learned the hard way how to have kids. Software wasn't cutting it. Yeah. All right.
Now, are these would you rathers for everybody, Ian? Or
Okay. For everyone.
let's do it.
We'll obviously let our guest, ladies first.
Ladies first. Let her go.
Well, I mean, if we're going ladies first, then Shawn, we'll have you.
Well, I'm going to go with bra size, so I'm going to give it to Pixie first.
36 double D.
I wasn't asking. I was saying you had a larger breast size.
I was gonna say.
Thank you for throwing that out there, though.
I missed your question, Shawn, and all I heard was you say that, and I was like, well, okay. I mean,
no, that's not what I was going for.
How we're responding to that one? Okay, so would you rather run everywhere or yell everything?
I'm already a loud person, so I'll just yell everything.
Okay, I need to clarify. Okay, so running everywhere is you wake up in the middle of the night and run to the bathroom. You have to run. They're like getting a drink of water in the middle of the TV. Like I already kind of run getting water in the middle of a TV show, but okay. And then yelling everything is every single situation. That means movie theaters, in the middle of sex, at the strip club, getting a coffee. Like every single situation, you have to scream it.
You don't want to see me run. It's not pretty. I'd rather yell everything.
Like this is like some Baywatch, like
the things just like smacking me in the face.
Now, if let's say you do choose, like you have to run everywhere, okay? Do I have the option of sitting in a wheelchair and like just kind of like rolling myself around?
Well, that's not running. That's rolling.
Well, if I'm sitting.
You have to get up and run.
Okay, yeah, well then, you know what? I think I'm going to go with the yelling because I feel like otherwise it's just going to be too complicated. I just yell at it all the time, be obnoxious.
I mean, there is a caveat when you're actually like this wouldn't affect you, Pixie, but dude, standing up and peeing, you don't got to like run in place while you're peeing because I mean that'd be an interesting cleanup.
No, I get it. Like you would have to like, run to go and like do every little possible thing. Like run to the kitchen real fast, run back to the couch. The whole bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I might try that tonight just to kind of see what my wife says.
What the fuck are you doing?
It's gonna be like I'm fast.
I don't know, babe. I lost a bet.
Yeah. Or like if you're in the movie theaters and you're like with someone else and you're asking them like, what happened here? Or like, you're like, oh no, I think that guy did it. I think he killed his wife. You know what I mean? Like you have to fucking.
What's happening now? Oh, well, this guy. Yeah, that'd be obnoxious too.
Yeah.
Renting out theaters just so that way you can go out in public.
Yeah. I saw it on the Your Mom's House podcast. They had Bill Burr on talking about it, and they asked him this question. I just thought it was a funny one. So yes, I stole it from them. But he was like, what I would do, I would pick the yelling because I would just ignore people until they ask like 10 times. Then you're like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Then they're like, oh, okay. He's just pissed off because I kept asking the same fucking question.
New card. What else you got?
Yeah, okay. Give us another one.
Let me see. Would you rather have a head of the size of a tennis ball or the head the size of a watermelon? These are random, I know.
Oh. Like a little head on a big body.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Beetlejuice character. Yeah.
Beetlejuice character.
Or a big head, a little.
Like Stewie Griffin head. Or Hey Arnold. Football head.
Yeah, exactly.
Depends. Am I a public figure?
Are you a public figure? Like that you're talking about your personal
right
situation.
now, when I'm looking at myself on the thing, I feel like my head's smaller than my body because my boobs are so big. So I'm like, I can see myself with a little head, big body. It's fine. There's a lot of Instagram girls that are very popular for that.
Hey, you would go viral quickly.
Absolutely.
You could also go viral for having a gigantic head as well.
Exactly.
But then I'd be like,
no neck.
It wouldn't make your boobs look as big, but I see if you're going for like assets versus like just having a larger head, I suppose, or just like weird proportions.
Like, I'm really smart. That's why my head's so big.
Okay, would you rather have a superpower to fly or become invisible?
Fly, even though I'm afraid of heights. Like you're afraid of midgets?
Yeah.
I'd rather fly.
Lower heights, evidently.
Yeah, flying.
Yeah, I think flying is like the one thing that gets overlooked a lot of times when it comes to superheroes. Like flying is the way to go. All the other ones end up having to get carried. Like, oh, thank you, and then they get scooped up and lifted off, and because they need the other guy. They need like somebody to go like, oh, I got you, don't worry.
But invisible is kind of creepy, kind of weird. Like, oh, I'm just gonna stand over here and just be invisible.
But dude, the implication,
it's a voyeur's dream.
Yeah,
but at the same time, the amount of pranks you could fucking pull on people.
I think it'd get old. I think it'd get old.
Yeah,
I mean, are you invisible the whole time?
Yeah.
Then you're wearing bandages and you're got the trench coat.
Yeah, didn't you see that one with Kevin Bacon or whoever it was that did the Invisible Man thing? And he hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can. You can always put some sort of something on your face, and you can kind of see it every
white powder. Maybe a wig.
Yeah. See, invisible only when naked.
Well, what if you don't know where you're going? What if you can't see what's trajectory that's going on?
Well, that's he's talking about Mystery Men. Remember when it was like Kel Mitchell? He was like in that movie, and like he was the Invisible Man. I can only be invisible when no one's looking at me. He had to be like naked or something like that, I think.
I mean, that could be the internet itself. Nobody can see you if you're not.
It's true.
We're all kind of invisible.
Invisible.
From the waist down, right now, at least.
Okay, would you rather be in a real version of The Walking Dead or Jurassic Park?
Ooh, I get it right. Dinosaurs.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting first place you went with it, but I'm like, you might get eaten first. Just,
Yes, dinosaurs. Yes.
What about you, Shawn?
That's a tough one because I feel like I've prepared for like the zombie apocalypse for so long that I'm like, oh well, like I'm totally covered.
Dinosaurs. Just make them dinosaurs.
Well, you know what? I think I would rather go with dinosaurs because the fact that the problem with The Walking Dead is the fact that like everything is shut down. You're basically scavenging for food at this point to kind of like stay alive, or you're farming, and that means you have to have skills as a farmer to be able to survive through like a winter, and that's a lot of work. That's a ton of work.
Yeah,
if there's dinosaurs going around, okay, whatever. There's dinosaurs. Not a big deal.
You might get eaten by a velociraptor. There might be a T-Rex.
Maybe.
You might want to stay out of the water. There's something,
It's a huge ass fucking shark dinosaur.
Did anybody see that last one? Did anybody see like the latest Jurassic Park yet?
You know that I did.
So
Twitter space about it. I was triggered.
I just remember like there was like a scene where like the fucking thing came and ate a blue whale, like just. I was like, wow, that's massive. I'm already scared of the ocean as it is, but now knowing that there's stuff like that in there, like no way.
I'm going Jurassic Park. I'm not going Walking Dead.
I mean, I personally, Walking Dead, zombies. I think it like. Okay, that might be because I had a fucking fear of dinosaurs when I was a kid because I saw Jurassic Park 1 and I thought it was just real and I thought a fucking T-Rex was going to come through the window and fucking eat me like the dude in the bathroom when he's taking a shit.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, exactly. I thought Sam Jackson was going to walk in with that fucking cigarette barely fucking dangling from his goddamn lip. And like, so I think it's that, but also like okay, this is going to sound so fucking bad. Maybe not as bad as like the, clipped thing that all black people, like that's probably, yeah, exactly. But I think the ability to like seeing someone that you hate in the zombie apocalypse and they're a zombie and being able to fucking shotgun their face.
Oh, you're going full purge on us. You're enjoying the
no, but they're dead already. So
yeah,
it's not, you see what I mean? It's like I'm killing a zombie, not a human, but there's still the remembrance of the person that they were. So it's still kind of, you know what I mean? It's like getting away with it without getting away with it.
I get what you're going for.
You know what I mean? Like your neighbor that's fucking really loud and annoying and that like, fucking sunbathes in like, with their dick out and you're like, dude, bro, put her away. Or like, some stupid shit and they become a zombie and you're like,
have you brought this up with your neighbor?
What?
Yes. Have you told him to put his dick away?
No, not at all.
No, you wouldn't tell him to put it away, would you?
No, I'd stare. I have the creeper window upstairs that looks over everything.
He likes to go invisible.
yeah, exactly. See, but that would be fucking hilarious if you were invisible and there was someone doing that. You could come and like fucking smack them or something while they're sunbathing. No one else sees you doing it, but you get the enjoyment of fucking with them. Like, I think that's great.
They would probably know that you have the power to turn invisible because they're your neighbor. And then they would know, like, oh, I'm getting pranked on by Ian next door.
Well, Trevor brings up a valid point. You're scared of midgets and dinosaurs.
Yeah, I'm
all over a lot of issues, buddy.
All over the place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Terrible.
Now, if midgets were fighting dinosaurs, I'd be okay. Be fine with it. Exactly.
Junior Jurassic Park.
Okay. Would you rather never use the last one? Would you rather never use toilet paper again or wear wrinkled clothes forever?
Wrinkled clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's bidets. There's the shower.
No.
Yeah, I have a bidet, and I'll tell you what, you still end up needing a little bit of paper.
Yeah.
You got to dry your asshole.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Like, well, I mean, I guess you could use a towel. Are we just saying like paper towels and, or I'm sorry, toilet paper in general? You could still have like paper towels or rags or this or that.
Because you sandpaper on your fucking anus.
Because all right, maybe I could see myself like going without toilet paper if that was the case. If I could use other types of paper products, but for the most part, I would say wrinkled clothes.
Wrinkled clothes. It doesn't really bother me that my stuff isn't ironed.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting one. I think I'd go with wrinkled clothes because I mean. I don't know. I don't know if I could just always use the bidet. You know what I mean?
Only for special occasions, right?
Yeah, you don't use the bidet all of the time. You only use them when you're spreading those cheeks. You know,
like once a day, maybe.
All that. No, I think
with that,
I think good on that. Unless there was anything the two of y'all had to add.
No, I think we're good at this point. We could probably wrap this one up. Do a quick little plugs for Pixie and her show. And then we can wrap up the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to
go right ahead?
Go
Pixie.
right on ahead.
Yeah, you go right ahead, and you can drop all the info you want to.
Panty dropping away, guys. If you enjoyed the ridiculous that is me, my name is Pixie, and I am the one of two for Next on Stage 1, where it's a stripper podcast where we talk about all of the things that happen behind the curtain. We have a lot of fun. We bring on guests. It is an entertaining, interesting time about things that you might not think you would be enjoying, like sex dolls, like Who Wants to Be a Porn Star, top 10 gifts to give men, and because I'm a giver, if you got that time,
God bless you.
Straight down the middle.
Are these the things that you're teaching?
These are the things that we're teaching on the podcast. Yes. And if you find me slightly enjoyable, I want to implore you to listen to my podcast, Next on Stage 1. There are 78 episodes already released. We are getting ready for season 4, where we're going to make it super, because we're doing superhero theme for strippers, and it's going to be very interesting. So that's it. Thanks for having me on this show, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
thank you.
Well, just want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Whiskey Capitalist podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow, and comment down below. Let me set this all up here correctly. Make sure it helps out with the algorithm. If you comment, if you like, you share, do all that stuff. It helps us. If we get
to 10K marks down below, I'm gonna make the guys do tits out for 10K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been the pandemic for the past couple of years, so right. I have titties now.
You got it.
Brown.
I'll whip them out.
Too much bread. Make sure you go to solo.to/thewhiskeycapitalist. for all of our links, and go to bit.ly/thewhiskeycapitalist merch for all of our merch. We have Stranger Things shirt and line of merch that we just came out, or Stranger Things inspired, I guess. Also check out solo.to/tildeathstudios if you need any affordable digital media done or any designs or anything. I can get that done for you. Make sure you check out solo.to/Til Death Podcast for all things Til Death with me and my wife in our podcast, which is going to be now it's the Til Death Podcast Network here on YouTube, which we actually have Movies America, who's going to be joining and doing movie reviews from now on. Yep. And starting. And then we also have Shawn with his show that he's been doing on Patreon, which is going to be coming over to the YouTube channel now too, and I'll let him kind of go over that with you right here.
Yeah, actually, now that like Pixie brought up all the info about like Patreon, what I feel kind of like, I don't even know if I want to be like advertising Patreon at this point, but I am currently still on patreon.com/Sippin with Shawn, where I'm doing like my own like show with rants, raves, opinions, reviews, all kinds of stuff that I can't do on YouTube. But we are bringing the show onto the Til Death Podcast Network for a live stream as well. So that's going to be like a Friday happy hour, live stream where we're just going to be like having some fun, sharing some videos that are YouTube approved, and go from there, So it's going to be a lot of fun, and looking forward to all the collaborations that we're doing with the network and having it grow continuously. So, yeah.
I think I think one way you might want to look into is locals, because they are connected with Rumble, which is...
Well, there's Gumroad. Gumroad's the big one that everyone who was on Patreon that either got like banned from Patreon or whatever like that, like they end up going to Gumroad now.
You can also do Substack is the one that I'm looking into.
For the like kind of subscriber model stuff like that Patreon is, there's also Subscribestar, which isn't big on censorship, and also Buy Me a Coffee, which is I don't know how they are really on the censorship stuff. I haven't really heard too much about them, but Buy Me a Coffee, it's a fun name for a website, and people drop, oh yeah, sure, I'll buy them a fucking coffee. Yeah, I don't know, it just seems fun. But yeah, real quick, here's the at Movies America. Go to moviesamerica.com for the audio content. I believe he's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that, but we're going to be bringing him I'm going to try and take all of his past episodes and put some video content to the audio and put it up on the YouTube. And then I think he's going to be doing either streams or recorded content for the channel. But I think with that, we can sign off for the night.
Thanks again, Pixie. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Definitely, it was definitely interesting and funny, and I'm glad we could spread them butt cheeks open and learn some new things about strippers.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. Like we'll wrap this one up then.
Yeah. Buy Me a Lap Dance
would be a better name.
Yes, definitely awesome. Okay,
I'm sure the domain name is open if you guys want to like scoop that shit up.
But it has to be Open Dem Butt Cheeks, like DEM, Open Dem Butt Cheeks. All right, before I say any more stupid jokes, thank you guys. We appreciate it. We'll catch you next time.